Welcome viewers. This is our first talk of Madi discussion with one of our elders, Elder John Maire. He has a lot to tell us, but he's going to go slow. Enjoy the talk, but we are going to begin with how the Madis use their national anthem, their anthem. And this anthem is known by elders. And he's going to introduce to us so that we learn.
Yes, many of us have grown up knowing this one particular song, which have been sung by ancestors at the time when some of us are not born. And it was in the name of our last Opi, the Madi Opi, Chirino Dego Nangazere. And each and every time Madi goes to official dance, they enter the grounds with that song. And the song is Iligo Madi.
Can you do it for us?
Yes, I've grown up knowing it. And many Madis know it, even we are going to try to make it known by kids and youth. Iligo Madi, Bidea Masira, Malia Mundo Alijoriani. Yangaziro mundo tiga tarera dute Iligo Madi Bidia masiwaya Malia mundo alijorian Yangaziro mundo tiga tarera dute Iligo Madi Bidia masiwaya Malia mundo alijorian Yangaziro mundo tiga tarera dute. This is a clearly emotional song, meaning our chief was capable of going to meet the colonialist all by himself, and he stood his ground. One, he went. Second, he went alone. Two, he stood with them, listened to what they say, and make a decision. He came back to tell his Bonyi, the people of Mali and in Mali nation. That was at the dawn of colonialism as a result of the 1884 Berlin Conference that carved Africa into many countries that we know today as properties of colonialists and imperialists. That's why now we consider that as a Madi national anthem.
And we have been singing this song. We didn't know, as young people, we didn't know that was our anthem. Is it good for the young people now to take it serious so that they learn and they start knowing who they are and appreciating who they are, and they start using this song for every function?
Yes, because in the history of Africa, after colonization, many Africans were enslaved and resources taken to the colonizers. It came a time, a few African countries, beginning with Ghana, were able to gain their independence, and the rest had to fight for the rights. As for those of us, Madi, who are now divided into two, one in Uganda, the other in South Sudan, that used to be in Sudan, was not our making. Madi nation was one, is still one. But we have to accept the reality. The colonial boundary was taken there. We have an international boundary between Uganda and South Sudan. That is as a result of the referendum of 205, the referendum of 208, as a result of the wars, two wars, 1955 to 1973 and 1983 to 2005. As a result of that, we now have two nations instead of one. But technically, there is only one nation. That was governed at the time by His Majesty Aliku, which the white imperialists took away in exile and died in exile, leading to the divide of Mali because they tried to resist, but they didn't get it. However, today we are not going to lament over that. We should do with what we have. Two nations in one, in Uganda and in South Sudan, but they all remain Mali. And they remain Madiba.
And Prof, how can the Madi use their union to understand who they are and to thrive with all this history you are telling us?
Well, it is easy because the Madi in South Sudan is not a unitary union, state or nation. At the time of, or at the dawn of colonialists imperialists coming to Africa, Mali constitutes of two nations, the Burlo nation and the Lokai nation. Between them, mutually, they sign a pact of two equals and constitute the current nation as the Mali nation as a result of union of the two nations of Burlo and Lokai. And we can, in fact, without fear, we can proudly say Mali is a union of Suru of Mali. Quickly, we can coin it to say USM, Union of Suru of Mali, that constitutes the current Mali nation and Maliba, because Burlo and Lokai have become one nation out of two.
Fine. Prof, can you also explain to us how was the Mali Traditional Authority organized and how was the structure? Because I hear you are writing some book and that book includes me. Can you explain to us more about how the leadership of Mali was structured?
The word we use mostly is Abiye Beni Beroninga, which means the traditions that we have originated from our ancestry since time immemorial. In fact, it originates from the time of creation. Abiye Beni Beroninga means simply what our ancestors left us since the time immemorial. And that is what we know as the traditional authority, which we can easily say is the Mali Abiye Beni Beroninga authority. It structures itself after the union into 4 levels. We have the OP, who is the overall leader. This doesn't matter, it can come, the OP can come from the Burlo or from the Lokai. There is easy to do that. By the time we came to know this OP, the Mali OP Mila was from Burlo, governed his son Kanyara, their governor, after his death. And then we got back to Lokai of Widow Dupe under the leadership of Odupe's sons that came to Chirino Odego, Langaziri. Thereafter, Langaziri became the last born chief in the history of Mali. And he declared anybody now could be elected after him, after the Odupe could not provide his successor. And that I term it to be the Langazirian decision. And therefore, it caused us to come round and accept his wisdom of declaring the monarchistic system to rather republican one, where citizens can elect their own leader. And therefore, I can say proudly here that the Mali nation became the first nation in South Sudan to have their leader elected in 1951, after the declaration.
Not necessarily from the royal
No,
clan?
no.
And the leadership is for both female and male without
There
discrimination?
is no discrimination of sexes in Mali terminologies.
And what do you think this, if Mali takes this serious, what do you envision for the Mali people after all what has happened historically?
One, we must accept the decision of Chief Chirino Langaziri and accept the connotation of the Langazirian democracy, where suffrage, one person, one vote, became a reality in 1985. And also, secondly, we should also accept the fact that Langaziri, as the last chief, gave us our freedom. And therefore, we have become the first republican nation in the history of humanity in the Sudan now, in South Sudan. The Mali, they take their growth and development and progress to the level. By 1951, nobody else had that ability to elect. By 1985, we were able to have a change of leadership from Sabazio Okumu Adala to Alexander Moigo by one person, one vote. Anyone can challenge us on that. I dare say we stand our ground. Therefore, the Mali can use this kind of knowledge of governance and union of two into one to help their brethren of the 65 plus nations to be able to do exactly the same and draw us together as brothers and sisters and learn to live together peacefully in the circumstances we are in today. I think South Sudan can learn to grow and grow into a nation where everybody, but the chance must be given to all the 65 plus nations to be together without engaging in any political discussion, but people's discussion, heart to heart, people to people. That's possible.
Do you think, what is your message the last message for the people of South Sudan and specifically to the Madi people?
Every nations of the world have their specified God, which is a divine will and order. The Madi have Lemianda, righteousness. The message I give to Madi to live their righteous life and make that be to their friends and their associates and engage other nations to learn from that. And we can be a catalyst for peace, not just in South Sudan, but the rest of the world.
Thank you, viewer. This is our great message from our one of the greatest elders of Madi, Abiy Veroninga leadership. And we will have more. As I told you, this is the first engagement with Talk of Madi, with one of the elders. You learn more from other elders, but also you learn more from Elder Nyani, whom we nickname him our professor. And I, who is talking to you, is Grace Andrua. Thanks. We meet again.
Thank you.